Hello, welcome back to Economia. In this video, we'll be dealing with the Pareto optimality conditions. What I want to tell you is that this video is actually the continuation of the previous video which we have already done. In the previous video, if you remember, we have discussed the Pareto optimality conditions by explaining the diagrammatic description. If you are not clear with respect to the diagrammatic explanation and all, I hope if you watch this video, you will be getting an overall understanding of the topic of Pareto optimality. What I mean is that for those people who are not familiar with the Pareto optimality conditions, it is better for you people to go through this video first and then go to the video which we have already given. I mean the previous video which we have already given. So that would be better. And for those people who have got a good understanding, related to Pareto optimality conditions by watching the previous video, it would be beneficial for you to come back and watch this video so that you will be getting a more better understanding. Okay. With that, let's get started. An economy is in a Pareto optimal state when no further changes in the economy can make one person better off without at the same time making another one worse off. An economy will be Pareto optimal when the economy is perfectly competitive and in a state of static general equilibrium. So these are the conditions, or these are certain what to say. This is a certain context in which the economy can attain the Pareto optimality situation, that is perfect competition as well as the general equilibrium. These conditions should be satisfied in order for an economy to attain Pareto optimality. The intuitive case for this is based on the fact that prices reflect economic values in a competitive market. If a unit of goods or service could produce more or bring greater satisfaction in some activity other than the present use, someone would have been willing to bid up its price and it would have been attracted to a new use. When this price system is in equilibrium, the marginal revenue product, the opportunity cost, as well as the price of the resource or asset would be equal. Each unit of every good and service is in its most productive use or best consumption use. No transfer of resources could result in a greater output or greater satisfaction. And this can be examined more formally in terms of three criteria that have to be met for market equilibrium in order to result in Pareto optimality. These are efficiency in exchange, efficiency in production, as well as efficiency with respect to output. What is exchange efficiency? This occurs when, for any given bundle of goods, it is not possible to redistribute them such that the utility of one consumer is raised in order to reduce uh, the utility of another consumer, or the utility of one consumer is raised without reducing the utility of another consumer. This is a case. This is the case of exchange efficiency. A simple example is that where there are two individuals, one with loaf of bread and the other with a block of cheese. That means two commodities, right? Both can be made better off by exchanging bread for cheese. An efficient exchange system will allow exchange of bread and cheese to take place until neither party can be made better off without one of them becoming worse off. In a multi-product, multi-consumer economy, so that is what we see in reality, right? We are not concerned about two products or two goods or two consumers. I mean, this is not the only thing that we have in the real sense, or in reality we are dealing with the multiple products, multiple consumers, multiple producers, etc. So in this case, exchange is far more complex. It is complicated and involves the use of money to facilitate exchange. However, the principle is the same here. So long as products can be reallocated to make one person better off without making the other one worse off, the economy is operating suboptimally from the point of view of exchange efficiency. In a perfectly competitive market, exchange will occur until this criterion is met. Exchange efficiency alone does not necessarily result in Pareto optimality. There are certain other conditions which need to be satisfied. This is because it leads only to a specific bundle of goods. And means exchange is something which relates to those goods which we are exchanging, right? It is not concerned about those goods which we are not taken into consideration. It may be possible to make one or more individuals even better off without making anyone else worse off by altering the bundle of goods produced in the economy. This could involve raising the total volume of goods produced as well as altering the combination of goods produced. That is all with exchange efficiency. Coming to production efficiency or product efficiency, we can see that this occurs when the available factors of production are allocated between the products in such a way that it's not possible to reallocate the production factors so as to raise the output of one product without reducing the output of another product. So here we have two products, two factors. Two factors means labor and capital are these factors are used to produce both the commodities. So this is analogous to technical or production efficiency at the level of firm. Here we are concerned about production, cost, etc. What is being said here is that there are many situations in which it is possible to raise total output in an economy by simply reallocating factors of production at no additional cost. This is because factors of production are more productive in some uses than they are in others. In a competitive economy, producers bid for factors of production until they are reallocated to their productive use. For example, if there is a lot of unproductive low-wage labor employed in agriculture sector and labor shortage is visible in the industrial sector, where labor productivity is potentially high, then factory owners would bid up price for labor. I mean, they draw labor from the agriculture sector to the industrial sector by going for bidding. This could significantly raise output in the industrial sector without having a negative impact on the agriculture sector. So long as factors of production can be redistributed in a way that increases the output of one product without reducing the output of others, the economy is operating suboptimally in terms of production efficiency. Having discussed efficiency with respect to exchange as well as efficiency with respect to production, let's come to efficiency with respect to output. What is output efficiency? Output efficiency occurs where the combination of products are actually produced in such a way that there is no alternative combination of products that would raise the welfare of one consumer without reducing the welfare of the other consumer. Both exchange efficiency and production efficiency criteria must hold in order for this output efficiency to be met. The combination of outputs produced according to this criteria is distributed between the consumers according to exchange efficiency as well as the economy is operating with the production efficiency. That means that you are simultaneously attaining production efficiency and exchange efficiency. Pareto optimality is the result of rational economic behavior on the part of producers, consumers, and owners of factors of production in a perfectly competitive economy. Although we do not have the scope to examine the underlying theory, here it can be shown that Pareto optimality will be attained if all markets are perfectly competitive and all markets are in general equilibrium. And all markets are in equilibrium means that there is general equilibrium. It is important to realize that Pareto optimality is the outcome of an economy that meets each of these three efficiency criteria. This does not mean that there is only one optimal allocation of resources. A Pareto optimal economy results in maximization of aggregate economic welfare for a given duration of income and a specific set of consumer preferences. A shift in income distribution changes the income of individual consumers. This is something which we already know. As their income increase or whether there's decrease or increase, whatever it may be, whenever there's change, this will influence their preference. This will influence their demand curves for various products. So it can move to left or right. Anyway, there would be a shift depending upon whether your income increased or decreased. If your income has increased, it will lead to a rightward shift. If your income has decreased, then it will lead to a leftward shift. All these are which we have understood in our lower or primary lower primary classes, right? This will result in different equilibrium point in various markets and make up the economy. Every alternative distribution of income or set of preferences characterized by a different Pareto optimum. Thus, since there is an indefinite number or infinite number of different ways in which income can be distributed, there is also an infinite number of Pareto optimum equilibriums. Obviously, in practice, no economy can attain Pareto optimum positions because we know that perfect competition is something which is very much essential to attain Pareto optimum condition, but this is perfect competition is something which is very much hard to see in reality. It is an ideal form of market structure, but what we have in present life, I mean what we have in reality is an imperfect kind of competition. Pareto principle is a little practical use, especially when policy matters are taken into consideration, and we cannot devise any kind of policies by using Pareto optimal criterion in consideration because that is not applicable with respect to a real life market structure where we have imperfect competition. It is an important concept in the neoclassical tradition of economics and integrates much of the theory. Also, this is considered to be a standard against which economists can explore the real world. That's what we have already seen. Here, making one person better off without affecting the other person is something which is very much hard to think, especially when people are concerned about their self-motive and they are trying to gain at the cost of others' gains. So, with that, we end today. I hope you got a better understanding of the Pareto optimal criterions. I mean, 3 different conditions for attaining Pareto optimality. With that, we end. And I request you to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. And you can be a part of my Telegram group as well as Telegram channel. I'll be providing the links of the same in the description box. You can come there, discuss your doubts, you can clarify your doubts. You can make discussions, you can make debates, whatever you want in the group and as well as in the channel. So I'll be providing the links of the same in the description box. Okay, that's all. Thank you.